Your parents care for you not because they love you, not because they feel an obligation to raise you, but because of their genes. The cold, hard truth is that they care for you simply because you carry 50% of their genetic material. Not love, not relationships, just the survival and propagation of their own DNA. That is the theory of Richard Dawkins, the theory of the selfish gene. The origins of the theory: intelligent life on a planet comes of age when it first works out the reason for its own existence. Since the beginning of human civilization, we have questioned our own existence. Who are we? Where did we come from? Where are we going? For millions of years, humans had no real answer until one man changed everything. His name was Charles Darwin. Darwin's theory of evolution shattered the old religious worldview. Life wasn't created with purpose, it was shaped by natural selection. But even though his ideas revolutionized biology, they remained controversial, especially in the religious West. Then, Richard Dawkins took Darwin's theory one step further. Dawkins argued that the fundamental unit of evolution isn't the physical body nor the conscious mind. It is the gene's tiny molecular replicator that carries instructions for life. We are nothing but vehicles, machines built to transport and spread these genes. Our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, just tools that genes use to ensure their survival. The role of genes in behavior. At first, this seems absurd. How can microscopic strands of DNA dictate our actions? How can something so small determine whether we are selfish or altruistic? But Dawkins explains, evolution favors the genes that are best at surviving and replicating, and often the best survival strategy is selfishness. But wait, if genes are selfish, why do we see acts of kindness, sacrifice, and cooperation? Dawkins answers this too. He explains that even behaviors that seem altruistic can be explained by genetic self-interest. Example 1. Parental sacrifice. Take parental care. Parents invest enormous time and energy into their children. But why? Because those children carry their genes. A mother's sacrifice for her child isn't an act of pure love, it's an evolutionary strategy to ensure that her own genetic material survives into the next generation. Example 2. Kin selection in animals. Look at animals like meerkats, who take turns standing guard while others forage. On the surface, this seems selfless, but in reality, it's calculated. By protecting the group, they increase the survival of their relatives who share many of their genes. A similar logic applies to worker ants, who never reproduce but devote their lives to serving the queen. They aren't acting selflessly, they are ensuring the queen's reproductive success, which keeps their shared genetic material alive. Example 3. Reciprocal altruism. Even beyond family, cooperation often serves selfish genetic interest. This is known as reciprocal altruism. If I help you today, you might help me tomorrow, increasing my chances of survival. This is why vampire bats, for example, will share blood meals with others who have previously shared with them. It's not kindness, it's strategic survival. The illusion of free will. Even human morality, our sense of right and wrong, can be viewed through this lens. Why do we feel guilt? Why do we value fairness? Dawkins suggests that these instincts evolved because they helped our ancestors survive in social groups. A tribe that cooperates has a better chance of outcompeting a tribe of selfish individuals. In other words, even our moral values might be the result of cold, genetic calculations. So, does this mean free will is an illusion? That we are nothing more than puppets controlled by our DNA? Not necessarily. Dawkins acknowledges that humans, unlike other animals, have culture and reason. We can recognize our genetic impulses and sometimes override them. But to understand ourselves fully, we must first recognize the real force shaping our actions, not divine will, not personal choice, but the selfish gene. The controversy and misinterpretations, Dawkins' theory, though groundbreaking, has been widely misunderstood. Many critics falsely assume that the selfish gene promotes the idea that people should be selfish. This is incorrect. Dawkins is not making a moral argument, is simply describing how evolution works. Just because genes are selfish does not mean humans must be. In fact, understanding the mechanisms of genetic selfishness allows us to counteract them. For example, humans have created societies that emphasize cooperation, morality, and long term planning things that go beyond pure genetic self interest. We have laws, ethics, and education that help us override primal instincts. This is what sets us apart from other species. The memes, evolution beyond biology. One of Dawkins' most fascinating ideas in The Selfish Gene is the concept of the meme. Just as genes replicate and spread through reproduction, ideas replicate and spread through culture. The meme is a unit of cultural transmission, a song, a religious belief, a scientific discovery. Just as genes compete for survival in a gene pool, memes compete in a vast ecosystem of human thought. Some memes, like religion, have survived for centuries because they are incredibly good at spreading from one mind to another, even if they don't necessarily benefit genetic survival. Others, like scientific knowledge, continue to evolve, adapting as new discoveries challenge old ideas. In this sense, culture is an evolutionary force parallel to biology, shaping human behavior just as powerfully as our genes. The implications for humanity. So, what does this mean for us? If we are just machines built by selfish genes, does anything really matter? The answer is it depends on how we respond. Understanding the selfish gene doesn't mean surrendering to it. It means recognizing the hidden forces that shape us so we can make better choices. We can build societies that encourage cooperation. We can fight against destructive instincts. We can rise above the raw mechanics of evolution and create meaning beyond mere survival. Richard Dawkins' The Selfish Gene is not just a book about biology, it's a book about what it means to be human. It challenges us to see ourselves not as independent individuals, but as part of a grand, ongoing experiment of evolution. Whether you find it fascinating or unsettling, one thing is certain. After reading it, you will never look at life the same way again. And that changes everything.